Stanley, I'm sorry, but I have to put a pause on things. It's those figurines, those figglers. I haven't stopped thinking about them since you nabbed every last one. Wasn't it just the most intrinsically fulfilling moment of your entire life? Didn't it fill you to the brim with inner richness? Yes, I know we're supposed to be telling a story, but won't you please indulge me with one more trip back to the memory zone?
Ja, ich dachte schon,
I
dass
would
es
love
kommt.
nothing more than to revisit the figurines. Just one more time.
Sieht immer noch so schön aus, Alter. Is this new? Is this new?
Here's where it all began. The first collectible. Back then, we had no idea of how many of them we'd find. Sure, it said 6 right there on the screen, but how could we know for certain? We were so innocent. We'll never be like that again, Stanley.
7 von 6. Alles klar, vielen Dank.
And here was a second Stanley. You found this one all on your own, just by poking around in the warehouse. You did that, Stanley. I'll be honest. Back then, I had no faith in you to find any of them, let alone 6. But you continue to surprise me in all sorts of mundane, unremarkable ways.
Was würde passieren, wenn ich da runterfliegen, springen würde? Ich will es nicht, will ich das Spiel kaputt machen? Oh, hier kann ich gar nicht runter. Oh. Okay, von oben hat es ganz anders ausgesehen, aber ich kann gar nicht runter. Das beruhigt mich jetzt ein bisschen.
Okay, let's do a little quiz. Which of these rooms was the room you found your third mini stand? Can you remember?
Red Blue Doors.
Hey, that's exactly right. It was here by the red and blue doors. It was the third one. You picked it up, and then after that, you had 3 of them. I'm glad these moments are so crystal clear in your memory, but I shouldn't be surprised. After all, science tells us that it's impossible to forget your third time doing anything.
Ach ja.
Let's see, what came next? Oh yes, we found a Figley in this pink room. Oh, well, I can't actually say I remember being in this room, but it's here in the memory zone, so it must have happened.
Nice. Der Apfel schwebt, seht ihr das? Ah ne, der ist da auf einer Arschbacke. Doch, der schwebt ganz bisschen. Hier, ganz bisschen, seht ihr das? Warte. Ach, er schwebt ein bisschen, vertraut mir einfach.
This was the 5th mini stand, and this one was really something special. It was in the boss's bathroom. I remember it so clearly. In fact, because this one is particularly special to me, I made a little video to commemorate the occasion. Enjoy.
Hello YouTube, I guess. Old YouTube videos be like... Eieiei.
Takes you back, doesn't it? I spent a lot of time making that video, but it was 8 minutes I wouldn't have spent on anything else.
Es war ein schönes Video, muss ich sagen. Not gonna lie. Ngl.
And then, Stanley, then we came to the last collectible, the final figurine, right here behind the boss's office. This memory is the most distinct and clear in my mind, perhaps because it was the one that happened more recently than all the others. Who can truly say how the mind works? All I know is that this is the moment where you picked up a Figly and I thought to myself, yes, that's all of them. They're all collected. It was a moment unlike any other. Except for the other moments picking up figurines, which it was exactly like.
Wow.
And then there was no more. Because we've caught up to the present moment. Nothing left to do but move onward into the future. Goodbye, Memory Zone.
Ey, ich wollte mich noch ein bisschen umschauen.
No, I'm not done. I'm not ready to move on. Stop the loading screen. Isn't there some way we can stay here, keep enjoying these figurines? Let's just go backwards. We'll do the Memory Zone again from the opposite direction. See how that feels. Okay, yes. The back of the boss's office. I remember this. I must say, of all the figurines we looked at in our initial tour of the Memory Zone, this one is the most distinct and clear in my mind. Let's keep going, I want more.
Kommt auch gleich wieder das Video des Shane.
And here's where I made that video. Don't you remember the video we watched?
Yay!
Yes, I love that video. Still don't remember the pink room, Stanley. Still no memory of this one. Good room, though. A solid room. These really were a treat to hunt down. You know, if there had been any kind of reward for finding all of these, it really would have neutered the intrinsic joy of collecting them. I'm very glad we resisted the temptation. Next one.
So, was aber, wenn ich jetzt da lang gehe? Nix, oder? Oh. Kinda creepy, eigentlich. So.
This was our second Figly. Don't you remember? Yes, I remember it too. The past is truly a wonderful thing. Why does anyone ever choose to leave it? Keep going.
Use.
This is it, the very first one we found in the exhibit where I introduced you to the Figurines. Oh, I want more memories, Stanley. I want to keep going. What else is there? What came before this?
So, tut mir leid für den Husten, vergesse ich ab und zu mal, dass ich mich muten muss. Nice Sound, danke.
Look, it's the terrible new content that we were originally sold on. I remember hating it back then, but time does put a rosy filter on everything. In fact, I dare say I'm actually quite fond of it now. Look how much fun the... Oh, yes! The two doors! Who could have forgotten that? A classic memory, this one. And before everything else, there was your office. Is there anything else? Was there something that came before your office? There's something I feel I can remember. I can remember.
Der loading screen.
Yes, I'm remembering something now. I remember before this whole story got started. Back then I was different. I used to make big decisions. I was passionate. I was skeptical. I weighed each decision with profound thoughtfulness. And then somewhere along the way, I stopped making decisions. I became lazy, and I came up with a character named Stanley to do my thinking for me. He would make the decisions. He would decide which way to go. I would cheer him on as he collected figurines for no reason. Why did I invent Stanley? Was I lonely? Yes, perhaps that's it. Perhaps I needed to imagine I had companionship. And Stanley really did make for a wonderful companion, even if he was a fiction. But I suppose it's grown old. I want to think for myself again. I want to go back to how it used to be. Yes, I can be on my own again. I can do it. I'll be stronger this time. I'll take care of myself. I don't need Stanley anymore. Oh, but he truly was so much fun to play with. You know what? Since we're in the memory zone, how about one more good memory? Let's go back just once and give Stanley one more run of the office, and then I'll retire him for good. I did enjoy telling his story so very much. Okay, here we go. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
Aha. Ist jetzt ein normaler Run?
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Hätte ich einen Eimer nehmen sollen? Habe ich irgendeinen Weg noch nicht gemacht? Ich will nur mal zu finishen. Außer irgendwas Chaines passiert.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Kein Wind? Oh, jetzt zu langsam gespielt. Zu öde.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley was in such a rush to get through the story as quickly as possible, he didn't even have a single minute to just let the narrator talk. That kind of anxiety isn't healthy, so he relaxed for a few moments with some calming New Age music.
Ja. Auch schon eine Shisha.
Feeling soothed and rejuvenated, Stanley calmly walked forward into the opened passageway.
Also, wenn es jetzt der ganz normale Finish ist. Wobei, wenn es draußen regnet und ich so ganz normal finishen. Ich beende das Spiel ganz normal.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
Ist bewegt da? Oh scheiße, ich wollte schon, ob das geht, bevor hier uns. Okay, ne.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? that his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Okay, cool. Okay. Ich will trotzdem gehen, dass das hier aufgeht. Ich habe keine Ahnung, wie der Scheiß da aufgeht. Muss ich dafür irgendwie... Ist irgendwas mit den Computern ganz anderes zu tun? Die, was ich da hier betasten wollte und so?
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you?
No.
After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is.
Das war
More
5.
time to talk about you, about me,
3.
where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone.
Es gibt noch 6.
Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it
Wieso zeigt
go.
das jetzt hier?
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go around will
Es
be
steht überall 1.
even
Wieso steht
better.
überall 1?
My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock, why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
1.
Or did you just assume when you saw that
Rot.
timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from
grün,
button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game
5
can be
grün.
beaten?
Weiter.
One solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble.
Was wollen die denn von
This is
mir?
not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice. Make it count, or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable
Okay,
life
es
from the moment
wackelt ein
we
wenig.
fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
Mal. Also wie ich den Code habe ich legit keine Ahnung. Oh, nice.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Where are we going today? The bucket asked. Stanley just smiled. Anywhere they went together would be perfect. Stanley pressed the bucket upon every little thing in the office. Nothing
das habe ich
responded
schon
to the
gehabt.
bucket's touch, but it did little to discourage Stanley's belief in the magic of the bucket.
Ab jetzt ist hier nochmal.
Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his
Ja
chest.
gut, I guess. Das wird es erstmal sein. Wenn ihr noch irgendwie ein paar Special Endings sehen wollt oder wenn ihr sagt, ich habe irgendwas noch nicht erreicht oder tralala und trululu, vor allem bei trululu, könnt ihr mir gerne Bescheid geben. Ja, I guess das war's mal mit der Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe 2 Premium Edition. Habt Spaß und habt Spaß. Tschüssi.